Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to the Artist Lounge. We got a very special guest for you. This guy's Raleigh-born, been on the blues, rock, funk scene for a while now, and is starting to get into an amalgam of different sounds with his solo career. He jumped out about 5 years ago, has been doing that since, and is playing constantly. Very, very blessed to have him here, making the drive out from Cary. And going to get into some cool stories and some awesome fellowship with music. Please welcome to the Artist Lounge, Mr. Ari Pappalardo. It's good to see you, man.
Thank you. Good to see you, too. Good to be here.
So listen, we usually start the show the same way. Let's talk a couple of minutes about just beginning stages, how you got into music, and then we'll unravel the last 5 years because I know that you want to focus more on some of the solo work. But how did we get here?
We got here because in the Pappalardo family, you get to have guitar lessons at 14. And so I got my first guitar lesson at that age. And, you know, I'm not going to say that I was any kind of virtuoso, but I had a knack for kind of learning some chords, and before you knew it, I was putting them together to make some original songs. And then, you know, a little bit of time after that, you know, in high school, I joined a friend's band, and I had 2 weeks to learn their set. I'd never been in a band before, and they actually said, you know, well, we need a singer for this teen band night, which was actually just, seriously, guys, there used to be cool things in high school. There used to be you know, big metal concerts out of Bond Park that were all kids with their original metal music, and they actually had a fan base and sold tickets like 7 or 10 a pop. So anyway, I played that show, and within a little bit of time, I had made that band into, you know, my original project called Zero. And we played in downtown Raleigh for a long time. By long time, I mean like 3.5, 4 years. And you know, we played the brewery, if you guys remember. You know, not a brewery. Yeah, the brewery.
Played there myself, yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody...
Fun venue.
Everybody from Raleigh probably took a chunk out of that ceiling with their guitar headstock, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people, a lot of good stories from that room. But yeah, now, for those of you guys who know Hillsborough Street in Raleigh by Cup of Joe, you know, it's completely and utterly changed. It's unrecognizable. But when I was 21, there was a lot to do, and it was a lot of fun. So yeah, rest in peace, brewery, Shakedown Street, East Village. Yeah, lots of places. Baba Ganoush, lots of places now bulldozed, and I think there's a CVS there now. So, cheers. And Sadlax. Don't forget Sadlax.
So it sounds like you started songwriting
like probably 16 or 17.
Like almost out of the gate once you started playing.
It was really a thing where like I didn't really have the patience to get like, you know, oh, well, I know every pentatonic scale in every key, and I've learned every mode. It was more like, oh, I know E minor, A minor, C, and D. Let's see what we can do. And yeah, and the playing guitar, the writing lyrics, and the actual like writing of songs and playing them kind of all happened simultaneously. People would kind of say to me things like, "You're cool, but that's not your voice." Have you ever gotten that criticism before, especially when you were young? They might have been like, your voice,
one out of 100 of criticism. So
yeah, okay. Well, there you go. So
that's probably the first on the list.
Yeah, they go, well, I like your style, but you know, is that you? They kind of question that, and you know, maybe they were right because I was playing like metal music in my friend's band, and I was all like, you know, rah, and then you know, started to adapt that, and actually have a much higher voice than I thought I did at that age. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, that was the band called Zero.
Any specific influences during that time? Because I saw, well, I mean, and obviously we've played together. We met at a blues open mic.
We did,
and you know, we both have a deep love for the Doors and Hendrix and a lot of the same
classic rock, legends.
So anybody else beyond that sphere of influence that you were really into at that time?
Yeah, so kind of with the 60s psychedelia or classic rock music of Doors, Pink Floyd, Crosby, Stills and Nash and Young, you know, those harmonies were really it for me when I was a kid. I was also really into early Radiohead and Smashing Pumpkins, talking about, you know, like the Bends and, of course, Siamese Dream by Smashing Pumpkins, moving into Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. And these things kind of taught me that you could have a song that was totally hard rock guitars and screaming, and then flip it over and have a single like 1979 that bops, and it's
great
good.
Song.
It's good for everybody. It seems it fits for everybody.
Yeah.
And yeah, they were just wonderful, wonderful, imaginative songwriters. And another person I got into a little later in all the music thing was, you know, Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails.
Oh my God.
Which I kind of resisted that for a long time because of just like personal reasons, or just sort of like stigmas about, oh, that's the dark artist, or that's the junky artist. But once you listen to that music, you realize there's a whole world of the whole universe of depth to those sounds.
What a pioneer too. I mean, just, you know, having the real organic nature, but also being industrial, just pioneered a new sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
Entirely.
Like influenced by new wave and like hardcore and, you know, like just crazy things. And you get an amazing mix of like music that can sound soft but have lyrics that are really biting. And then on the next thing you can have something that's almost like it's so aggressive it's almost not listenable. but then you listen to it, and
or just for a couple of minutes.
For a couple minutes.
Yeah.
You know, it was like that was the intention. It's just like this song is erratic.
Well, I have to ask real quick because I saw it on the email when we were just corresponding, setting up plans for you to come out. I saw the police.
Yeah.
And
you saw the police hauling me away. Yeah.
Huge.
oh no. Okay. Yeah. The band. Yeah.
Huge influence on me as well. When I was 12, 13, 14. And yeah, Can't Stand Losing You. I was actually listening to it today. I'm mixing kind of a reggae rock song that I've got coming out in a couple of weeks. And I was using Can't Stand Losing You, Walking on the Moon as like reference mixes, just because those productions were unbelievable. But I wanted to bring it up because it's not a lot of, it's hard to find somebody who is influenced by the Police for some reason other than myself. I don't know why that is, but I just wanted to bring it up because if you had anything to expand on this.
Well, I think it's kind of like that thing of whatever gets into your musical subconscious early enough. And we were talking about how we're both Raleigh born, we're both from Rex Hospital, we're both in the classic rock, we're both Italian guys playing blues and stuff, among other things. And not to, you know, pigeonhole us at all, but yeah, you're into the Police, I'm in the Police, you're in the Doors. For me, it was like my father would have these cassette tapes, and we'd get in the car and like do something like drive from here all the way up to Queens in New York to see family. Right. And the whole way it'd be like you'd have like a Beatles greatest hits.
We've done the same thing though. Yeah. It's just so funny about it.
So we're the same family.
That was me with Deep Purple and Machine Head.
Oh, cool.
Because it was right after the SNL with Will Ferrell, the cowbell skit with Blue Oyster Cult.
Blue Oyster Cult, yeah.
So not to deviate on that story, but we went to Borders or Barnes & Noble when people actually bought CDs, you know, right after that, and a couple of years after that. And he was like, "You sure you want to get Blue Oyster Cult?" And I said, Yeah. And he's like, well, let me give you a couple other bands to listen to. And he threw on Deep Purple and Highway Star and Lazy and Smoke on the Water. I was like, oh my God. Like, you know, Pictures of Home with that drum intro was just like stupid. So not to digress, but
these
same thing.
These cassette tapes were a big deal to us. And especially back in the era, you know, those of you who are, you know, 19 years old, millennials, that's even your name anymore, your classification anymore. You know, Gen Z, yeah, I don't even know anymore.
I don't know, man.
So, you know, we had cassettes, and I remember hearing Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic by the Police, and I loved it so much. Tell me in a second if you're like this too, but I had a very like imaginative and visual mind growing up and still now. So like I could close my eyes and see like a bunch of heavy set New York cops dancing and singing in the street, because naturally as a kid, I thought the Police was the Police. You imagine all these guys with donuts and they're going, every little thing. I had no concept of these three.
Funny.
Yeah, these three guys.
Wow. Man, you just tapped into some deep like
Purple.
Yeah. No, that's deep, man. That's deep. Let's get into songwriting real quick, and then we'll hit a couple other points that you have here.
And Can't Stand Losing You is coming out on Spotify at some point. So I recorded it.
You're doing a cover?
Yeah, I did a cover of it.
Sweet, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look forward to hearing that.
It's fun.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's talk about songwriting process, reasonings. Do you have any weird kinks or quirks about how you go about it? Because everybody's different.
Yeah, the kinky songwriter hour.
Chains and whips.
Yes, chains and whips is the only way to get the right words out. Really.
Bad note.
I mean, it's really, shit. I think that a lot of times, it'll be like a super emotional happening might be what leads me to the guitar and leads me to putting the right words over the right chords.
Now, you're a multi-instrumentalist too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you write mostly on guitar?
Mostly, but there's a percentage of things that come out on the piano. And the piano was something that's been in the family since I was 9 or 10.
What's the difference for you between guitar and piano with the writing? Because it's different for me.
It's kind of like, well, one is... I guess it's kind of like if you were driving your reliable car all the time and you knew about it, you knew how to like turn, you know how to handle your car, and then somebody said, "That's great, but here's a motorcycle, and now I want you to be as proficient on the motorcycle as you were on the car." So it's sort of like that. They both get you where you're going. They're different forms of transportation, but ultimately it's their music and they're expressive. But me personally, I'm just a faster driver on the guitar, and that's just because that's where I put hours and hours of time. And I had 3 gigs this weekend. Each of them were 3 hours, and I played the guitar the whole time. So that says anything to you. And in time, people, I would like to be that guy who gets to split up his set and go, okay, now this is the piano part of it, because not only does it make you look more well-rounded, but from a writing perspective, it accesses parts of your brain that you weren't using before. Yeah, you have different kinds of ideas.
Absolutely.
So it's always good to change up instrumentation so that you can see what else is in you. Because we could just play blues forever. We could just rock our lead guitars, just bend our strats into oblivion. But will we discover anything new about ourselves doing that? Maybe.
That's a good point. It's a real good point. Well, on the topic of rock and blues, we'll meander there. First major solo that really blew your mind. Can you remember what it was? I remember.
You remember?
I want to hear yours though.
I really can't say if this is the first, but it's definitely David Gilmour. And it's you know what? Yeah, you know what? It's this. It's David Gilmour, Pink Floyd, the Live at Pompeii DVD, and they open with Echoes. A very long, if anyone's ever seen it, it starts out and the shot is like...
It's just the band, right? In that video, there's no audience, they're literally in Pompeii.
They're in the ruins of Pompeii. They're in a ruined Coliseum, and the camera starts, it's out there in outer space, and it zooms in on Earth, and eventually it's an overhead shot of the band, and it gets close, and then, 5-6 minutes into that song, there's this rip-in guitar solo, and it's all...
He's got the black strap, right?
Exactly.
He's got a shirt off, I think.
And it does that thing where like the screen, it goes into like,
I gotta
16
see that.
of it. Yeah. And it's just like the tone of it is insane.
It's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah. It kind of did that thing where like, if you weren't sure that playing lead blues guitar turned you into a god, if you saw that video, you would just be like, okay. And it was just a weird thing. And you know what? My first guitar was, I think it was called a Pro Custom. It was a yard sale guitar, but it looked like his Fender. It looked like his Strat. So I was like,
he had a maple neck on that, right?
I believe so.
I think so.
I think it's black with a white pick guard.
Right.
Yeah. So I had that look of a guitar, and clearly not the guitar, but I was just jazzed to be like hopping around the bedroom with that and be like, like it's possible. But it would take a while before the career really went possible. The music career thing really seemed possible. It was actually my third cousin in New York, a guy named Ryan Starr. He used to be known as Ryan Kolchinsky, but he got on a show post American Idol called Rockstar Supernova They were auditioning a lead singer for a band, and this was Gilby Clarke from GNR, Jason Newsted, who was in Metallica,
and Echo Brian, right? After Metallica.
Metallica, yeah. And Tommy Lee from Motley Crue was the drummer. So my third cousin's up there, Ryan, and he performed, and he didn't become the lead singer of that band, but he got a record deal with Columbia.
Wow.
First thing they did is they recorded everything that he did on the show, which was, it was a bunch of covers.
Right.
And so he got a CD of covers called it was called Dark Horse. And then he got his own album called 1159, and he opened up for David Cook.
Wow.
So he that's my third cousin in New York. I got to meet him once and kind of talk about, contracts and nonsense. And, really cool guy. Talented guy, singer, guitar player, piano player, producer.
Well, based on that, one of the topics that you sent me was branding. Yeah. Let's talk about it real quick as far as where you see yourself right now. And you've, in the last 5 years, made this change more or less.
Yeah, for a long time, I guess the temptation was, if you want to be known in music, you have to be in a successful band. And we've probably all made the mistake of just being like, oh, if this band could just, if these 4 or 5 guys that I know, if we could just get it all together. And it's really hard, and it's difficult to make money. And after a while, it's difficult to really be yourself because you're also trying to appease 3 or 4 other people. So I set out on my own after a band. So here's a good branding thing. This is a really important prized possession of mine. I'd like for you to check this out. This has to do with my rock and roll band that's now defunct called Absent Boundaries.
Yeah, and I was going to bring that up in a couple of bullet points. Oh, it's cool, man.
Yeah.
How many did you have made?
It doesn't work anymore. I think we made 200. And really, man, if you just kind of spin that around and look at it, I'm more proud of that than anything else, even though that band's over.
Now, you guys opened up for Big Something, right?
Close. I and another funk band that I joined momentarily during Absent Boundaries. Cool. We were all Durham-based bands, you could say. Absent Boundaries was a 5-piece progressive rock original project, but the Saggy Naturals, rest in peace, were a funk band. And Evan Bonnertz, shout out to Evan Bonnertz, he was the bass player, and he worked at Reverb Nation. So he was really able to know when these really great shows were happening. So now I'm a guy who just joined a funk band as the vocalist. They're doing everything.
You were just up front.
Just up front.
Okay.
Yeah, I went up there, and so now we're at Local 506, and it's packed. Right. And the tickets were $14. And I have no idea who we're opening up for or what, but I'm just there's a crowd. Let's work it. We had a great time. I'm there with long hair. I had this gray hat, and I had a big long gray wool coat. So I was just going for
sounds like an Anthony Kiedis thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the white boy up front, funking out. You know?
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, I got to play bongos at one point.
That's cool.
I learned some real tricks, but then and also the audience we were the opener, and the audience was dancing and loving what we were doing, and we'd sing something and they'd do the response, and my mind was blown, and I was thinking,
Funk is great, man.
Funk is great, man. But why wasn't this happening in the rock and roll project that I was putting my blood, sweat, and tears into for nearly 3 years before we broke up? So
it's interesting how that,
pretty much, yeah. With no effort, I applied
Life
for
is strange, man. It is strange.
And I didn't know who Big Something was. I didn't know about the Big What, but sure enough, they headlined, and they were incredible, and all those people were there. And after that show, I just kept hearing the name Big Something, and I was like, I can't believe, how lucky we were to just kind of happen into that. I'm sure Evan knew. I'm sure Evan was well aware of that band's popularity, but I was certainly ignorant. And I'd love to tap those guys on the shoulder one day and go hey, do you remember that show at 506? They'll be like, nah, we've played 100,000 shows way better than that.
Let me interject this real quick. The being weird compulsion.
Yeah.
So you opened up Pandora's box with the hat and the coat.
Uh-huh.
Let's talk about being weird. Okay.
I don't know what you mean by weird.
Oh, dude, that thing's sweet, man. That's cool.
It's my newest friend.
What year is that pup?
This thing is it's a parts guitar, but really it's like I've been told this body's from the 2000s.
Dude, that's sweet.
It's been weathered. Here, man. Let's have a little.
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah. So it's a Jag. It's just weird, but yeah. Yeah, green.
That's cool.
Green's my favorite color. So yeah. I guess there's just always a thing where if you see somebody doing something, my thought was to say yes and, but not just yes. You know,
What an improvisational guru we have with us.
You know,
Are you a pimping pickup artist? Practicing yes and?
I think I'm someone who missed a boat on a couple of things, but now wants to be a known musician. But yeah, improv, acting, drama, comedy, life. It's all tied in there. Yeah,
That's
get
cool,
it.
man.
Yeah, so that's a fun
Nice
new toy.
neck.
Yeah, and it's a shorter scale, so the guy kind of wanted it to be like a Gibson Junior. He had like a lot of that customized.
Do you want this on the table or do you want to take it?
I don't know. But yeah, why be weird? Why be weird? Because it's all I've ever known, man. For whatever reason, I've just kind of been like.
When did you know that?
I mean, like, there's a video of me somewhere at like age 6, and you know when you're like in kindergarten, 5 or 6, you're in kindergarten, and they say, "Well, what do you want to be when you grow up?" What do you think you said, and what do you think the people in your class said? Do you remember what you said? What do you want to be when you grow up, Jason?
What I'm doing right now is, I knew it since I was 4 or 5.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's, I guess the rock and roll. The rock and roll child, you know?
Rock and roll. Okay, that's cool. I hadn't discovered that side of my personality, but I did look at the camera and I said something along the lines of, "Oh, when I grow up, I would like to be a mad scientist so I could do like experiments and stuff." Something like that, verbatim.
Well, you kind of are.
Little kid with a you become a
Psychologically and musically, sonically.
Sonic mad scientist. Yeah.
If you want to throw that on the couch, well, be careful with that tripod, but some space right there. There you go. Yeah.
So I think I don't know why. I don't know why when I was a kid I thought, oh yeah, I know I want to be creative, but I know I want to be creative in a way that most people are not. You know?
It's funny because I guess I was creative my entire life and I didn't really, it never registered that I was. Mm-hmm. It was weird. I don't know. The older I got, the more I realized, oh, wait a minute. Like, this isn't 100% the norm.
Yeah.
And then there was a coping period of like, wow, okay, this is new. But luckily I had parents that just were dousing me in the arts and they saw me excelling. So I was blessed. But
yeah, I mean, was your family already working? They were already working with music before you were born.
Well, they were music savvy. Okay. So my dad is like corporate America. He's done a lot of great things. Very like math genius, marketing genius, business genius, in various facets. My mom was a nurse, ex-military, like very interesting backgrounds. But she came from like construction. From Italy, like
very interesting.
First generation was 100 years ago, so they've done like 4 generations in my family of that. I could have taken over, but no.
I guess the question for you is, were you born and there was a good opportunity for you to be musical because they were doing it, or like were you showing signs of musical
signs,
and then they said, "Let's make this."
That's it. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Well, they exposed me to sports. That's
tried to distract you.
Well, you know about the Carolina Music Awards, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Omar's a good friend, good colleague of mine, great guy, and he always talks about exposing your kids to. And obviously I'm not a parent, but exposing young people to a variety of extracurriculars and electives and really, it just so happens that the extracurricular and elective in our case is our living.
Yeah.
And so without my parents exposing me to that, But no, this is good. This is all great stuff. Let me ask you about the Deep South tour.
Yeah. Okay.
Expand on that a little bit before the cameras shut off.
Of course. So the Deep South tour was something that we started. My friends and I, Hank Close and Brendan Macy in a band called Hank and Brendan. We wanted to make a tour that started in NC and like Western NC if we could, and went to New Orleans and hit some stuff along the way. So we managed to book shows, and not all of them stayed booked. I'm going to be honest about it, but we had a nice trail that looked like Augusta, Georgia, Greensboro, Mobile, Alabama, and then a couple nights in New Orleans, and we would come home to a show at Second Wind in Carborough. And the Mobile show got canceled, but we went there and had fun anyway. And the Augusta show got canceled. We never went to Georgia for anything. But we had a great time. Went to a Mobile, Alabama karaoke night, which honestly, if you guys haven't been to Mobile, Alabama, just shut up because you don't know. You have no idea what that town is, and it's not what you're visualizing. So, it was 50 like young, beautiful people singing like Fall Out Boy and Thursday and 3 Days Grace and Smashing Pumpkins and The Killers and lots of stuff. And it was one of those rooms where every single song was like had a group chorus to it. And that was special. So we went and had fun. And just in case y'all are wondering, you can drink until 5 a.m. in Mobile, Alabama. You can. I don't recommend it, but you can.
I feel like this is like a History Channel special.
And and you don't even know because we stayed in a historic inn that was probably from the 1850s.
This is literally History Channel.
Yeah.
It's just like a thing.
If you guys don't know about Mobile, Alabama, they have a place called Mardi Gras Park. And that's where Mardi Gras is from. It's not a New Orleans born thing. It's made famous by New Orleans, but it's from Mobile. And so that means that the Spanish and the French and that kind of like swirling musical dance culture thing is very alive in Mobile. It's just more celebrated and more traditionalized in New Orleans. And not that modern day Mardi Gras is traditional. Like, go to Jazz Fest, guys. Go.
Did you ever go to Muscle Shoals?
No.
Okay.
That'd be fun.
Just curious.
Yeah. Random. Yeah. So the Deep South tour was really great. The best thing that happened was we got to New Orleans and they have a great open mic called Checkpoint Charlie that the first time I ever went to New Orleans, it was actually where I ended up. And we played then. That was years ago on a road trip. But get this, there was a singer-songwriter named Amity Rose, and she was, very talented, and I think she was from San Francisco. We played the open mic to promote our show at the Starlight, which was going to be the next day. And Amity Rose came and enjoyed my set at the end there, and got to talk a little bit. And just the way we were playing amongst these musicians who've been playing New Orleans and the surrounding area for over a decade, and we were accepted by these people. That was worth the trip. It was really just an amazing feeling.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So, along the lines of touring,
yeah.
Any other tours that we need to know about as we've made a wardrobe change on your end of the table?
I don't know what you're talking about, but I think I've been wearing this the whole time. Well, the thing that's pretty important to talk about is, we as musicians, we kind of run through those little pitfalls. We kind of go, I don't believe in myself, or these songs are good, but they'd only be good with a 6-piece rock and roll band. I couldn't just do it. You kind of tell yourself that. So there was a
I don't know what that is. No.
I'm talking to the camera, not you, sir. I'm talking to the camera. So
believe me, it's a
pitfall coming.
You will agree with me when I say it's 1,000 deaths a day.
Yeah,
it's a mental game.
Yeah,
It
being
is
in a band.
mental game. Just being alive as a creative being.
Well, he's getting out there now, folks.
Watch out.
Yeah, watch out.
I might change my shirt
It's
too.
1,000 deaths a day. Well, you missed your opportunity. And not that I changed my shirt, but if I did, I did it at the perfect moment. So here's answering.
Are you
that.
watching a video right now?
I am watching.
Where are we? What is this?
I honestly don't know where I am. Am I in Chapel Hill? Am I on the links? I don't know where I am. What is this water you're giving me? But the deal is, we all doubt ourselves.
Absolutely.
We all doubt. We don't mean to, but John Mayer, he's recording Continuum. He said in his liner notes, there was a moment where he threw all the pieces of paper in the air and said, "What the hell am I doing? And what are these songs? What are these songs?" His producer
Who
came
would
up.
have thought?
His producer came up and said, "Hey, man. You got Gravity, you got Waiting for the World to
Freaking
Change,
Vultures,
you got Vultures,
and damn.
Down to the Wire. You got these
Yeah.
amazing songs that, you're getting out of your comfort zone, John, but calm the hell down because you're doing great. Stop this train. Stop this train."
Oh, my God.
Oh, I just got like a full body something.
Goosebump.
I think the vodka kicked in. Just kidding, y'all. It's Aquafina, I think. So
we spiked you.
yeah, well. So anyway, being solo is really the way to go, but I wouldn't know that until I embarked on this cross-country road trip with a comedian named Brett Williams, and we drove up the coast to East Coast of Brooklyn. Then we shot across and hit Ohio, and then we ended up in Colorado and went all the way to the top of California in the mountains. Then shot down through San Francisco, and we're stopping when we're all these things. I'm just skipping days. This is taking weeks to get to 2 weeks to get to California. Then we spent several days in California. Came back through the Southwest and hit New Orleans eventually, and then got back. And at the end of that, I was admittedly done being in that car with her, but who wouldn't be, right? But I also had some new songs and some new experiences, and I kind of came back from that knowing who I was. And you know who was upset? My band, because I had taken a month off from the whole momentum of the thing, and I'm sure they saw that as, well, he's kind of stepping out, isn't he? He's sort of, doing something else. And it wasn't too long before that the guitar player pulled the plug on the band. But I don't regret that road trip because it was me stepping out, and it was me finding my sea legs. And now I'm kind of addicted to the highway, and I like long road trips, and I like the prospect of, hey man, in half a day we could be in New Orleans and go and see and experience New Orleans, and they'll experience our music, and then we'll go away and they'll remember you. And if you don't think that one show in New Orleans makes you memorable, I covered a Paramore song called When It Rains. And when I came back the next day, the bartender, who hears amazing music every day, all day, said to me, he said, "Hey, it's good to see you again. I've had that Paramore song you covered last night stuck in my head all day." And I was like, wow. And
That's
that guy,
cool.
yeah, that guy gave me this cup.
I enjoy traveling as well, and
You're in New York. You were in New York when I was in New Orleans, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Finish your sentence and then tell us about New York.
No, I was just rambling on more similarities.
Unique New York.
Yeah, yeah.
What were you doing there?
I had an audition for an opportunity, and then I'm actually going up later this month for one of my buddy's weddings. Actually, I know the bride and the bride to be and the groom to be both, so it'll be cool to hang with them.
Awesome.
But no, man, New York is just electric, as you could probably
Doesn't stop.
contend.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite? I was gonna ask, like, what is your favorite thing about New York, but let me be a little bit more specific. What do you feel when you're in New York? Because to me, every time I get close, anywhere close to the nucleus of that metropolitan area, there's just something, like I said, it's electric. It's just,
you either feel plugged in or you feel kind of left out. Some people will go, "Oh, I don't like New York because it kind of makes me anxious." Like the moment, I think actually Seth Rogen said that and comedians in cars. He said, I don't like New York. It makes me anxious. And then Jerry goes, interesting. It's really Jerry saying, yeah, you're not tough like us.
Right.
And that's what it is. I'm not from there, but my family is. There's a bit of
Same here.
It's a bit of a New York attitude in my blood that's not really justifiable, because I've been to the city a couple of times, but I still like it. I'm walking here, I still like it.
Yeah.
And I got Queens family, I got New Jersey family. Like I said, my third cousin's living in Brooklyn. I think he's from Long Island originally. So I've been to these places, and people are always welcoming. It's a different kind of experience for me than most people, because I don't just get dropped off on the side of the road. I'm like with my Italian family, and they're like, have another piece of like seriously, they're like eat and eat and eat.
That's it,
and it's great. But I haven't been there for business, and I kind of tell myself, if you don't go to New York unless you have a reason to be there, like you said. So you'll feel anxious and left out and trod upon if you're kind of there with no direction, no anchor, no purpose. If your purpose is to be in Times Square, then great, go to Times Square. But I just think, one day, one way, I'm going to have some important business in New York, and I'm going to feel absolutely comfortable going there and doing it. Just like I had fun hanging out with my cousin, and we got brunch, went to his apartment in Brooklyn, saw his studio, blah, blah, blah. I don't get anxious like that. And I like challenges. I like cities that refer to themselves as Big Apple or Big Easy, doesn't matter. It's
right.
It's like, show me what's so important about this place.
Yeah.
And you go and you find out, or you go and you come back with feeling like, oh, it's too fast.
Well, you touched on, and me personally, I love the Hudson Valley. I think it's the greatest place in the world, because you're an hour and 20 minutes out from, in my opinion, the greatest city in the world. I'm jaded. I'm biased. I admit it.
Yeah.
But then you're also like, you have the mountains, and you're 2 hours away from beaches, and you got everything. So you said a word, which is going to make us go down this tangent, which is great because it's going to hit the rest of the bullet points, hopefully. Studio. Now, you're doing self-production now?
I'm working with Bill West out of his home in Chapel Hill.
Okay.
He's got a nice studio in there.
Yeah, I've heard of Bill.
Yeah, that's where we've recorded Airplane, which is available.
Sounds great.
Yeah, it's on Spotify.
Heard it on Spotify, man.
Yeah,
sounds great. We'll have the link in the description box.
There you go. And you can also hear my cover of the New York band The Strokes. I covered their hit single Someday. And yeah, then we also have Can't Stand Losing You coming out of that house. We're gonna have
now, is that going to be acoustic?
Yes. So like those are the two singles are cool. Sort of like live things. And I picked them because they mean a lot to me, and because they mean a lot to me, they're kind of like whatever my fans' favorites. They'll come up and say, "You do that Police song better than any of your other songs." I go, "Great, I should record it." And last but not least, certainly not least, I have an original song that I wrote when I was 22. I'm 30 now, called Where Is the Line? And we're recording that. And that's a song that's kind of, sometimes the song you're writing subconsciously talks to you and kind of tells you something that maybe but don't want to admit. And Where's the Line?
Sometimes happens years later.
And
isn't that strange?
It's exactly what Where's the Line is. It's that song that I wrote when I was in a relationship that I did not really have business being in, or I wasn't equipped to be in.
That sounds really interesting.
Well, y'all need to listen to it.
If you want to expand on that for a minute.
I don't, because now everybody's interested.
All right. That's good. No, it's good.
What do you want?
Good.
Ask a question. Ask a direct question, and then we'll move on. Don't just say elaborate on that.
Is this all part of the EP?
Yes.
Okay, so the covers and these are, what are you, 4 or 5?
Yeah, 4. It'll be 4 things.
Okay.
And then I'm slotted to go into Night Sound at the Night Sound Studios in Carborough. I'm going to record a 9 or 10 album. A 9 or 10 song album.
Album.
That's the word. Track.
Full. LP.
Yeah. That.
What are those things anymore?
They don't exist, but I want to make one, and I've even thought about breaking it in half if I feel that
do that
sounds good. I felt it sounds good. It'll be one album, but it'll be like here's half of it. digest it. 5 songs. They're good. They're catchy.
Don't compromise to the masses.
But think about it.
Dude, I'm just giving you a hard
I know
time.
you are, but in this modern age,
Because you and I love records, so it's just.
But yes, we do. And I spent $60 on some vinyl yesterday.
Of course you did.
Yeah. But the deal is, we live in a different time.
Yes.
Absolutely. And Eddie Vedder was, smacking his little CD copy of 10, Pearl Jam's 10. He was smacking it and going, "It's so small. Why can't I? You can't even see it." And he's doing this. And I'm like, here we are, like 30 years later.
Now you have nothing.
And we're kind of still. Wasn't even going there. Now it's like.
Now you have this, and I'm gonna swipe. And okay.
I'm a musician. See? Like, exactly, right? It's in. Trust me. All right. So, yeah, that's a real thing. So I thought I was kicking it around, and it's really more about the content. If the content feels like the first 5 really sound well together and the second 5 sound well together, and the 10 of them don't sound, they sound a little disjointed together, then I thought it'd be nice to have an album that's kind of released in 2 chunks.
Yeah.
And that's good. It's two big bites. And people will, if they were enjoying the first half, then they'll hold out a few months for the second half. And then by the time they get that second half, I've already been recording something completely different.
Well, it's kind of funny because psychologically, like if you go on Spotify, the way the layout is, it's not like you go into the record store and you have all the CDs of an artist or vinyl or whatever.
Yeah.
You go to Spotify, each title, each single has an album artwork cover. So technically you could beef up on a bunch of singles and look a lot more elaborative perhaps than your discography would suggest, because if you have 10 singles, you have 10 album artwork covers.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's just the world we live in now.
The modern age.
And it's more like a portfolio instead of like this is the album. People really want they're gonna, you know how it is. You hear about an artist. What's your Instagram at? Like, hey, let's share handles. Let's whatever. So it's changing. The change has already been here.
Yeah. So we can't keep crying in our beer about not having an LP. But if we make enough of these compromises, maybe one day we'll be rich and famous enough to have our stuff on vinyl. And then we can go back and just remove everything off of Spotify and kind of be like that band that has a lot of integrity and that would never, ever have a #1 spot anywhere. This band called, have you heard of them? Tool? Have you heard of this?
They're not on Spotify then.
But they beat, I was being facetious because they did knock Taylor Swift off the #1 spot with their album release. Did you know about this? Yeah.
This happened recently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Their album came out like less than a month ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it took over because there were just enough hungry fans of
they have
Tool.
that solid super fan base.
Yeah. And they're so old. I bet a 17-year-old girl would have bought that album because she's like, oh, I saw a Tool bumper sticker on my uncle's car. Right. I mean, I'm serious. Like branding runs deep. Like the word Tool means a lot to people, even if it means nothing. Even if people would just be like, I know that's famous. It'd be like, and that's screwed up. Sorry, Maynard, but you guys are a household name. And you never wanted that to happen. I'm talking to you right now, Maynard. You never thought that would happen. You tried your best, but you screwed up because you kept making music, and we like it.
Let's talk about the Patreon account and the documentary.
Yeah. So while we were doing this Deep South tour, Brendan and I made a point to not have as much fun as we would have normally, and we took a lot of videos of people. We got some interviews of folks in New Orleans. We even talked to Big Chief Beautiful, who was a guy. If you guys don't know what a New Orleans Big Chief looks like, you need to Google that shit because it's awesome. These were street performers and musicians and locals who talked to us. And by now, I think we have about 30 minutes worth of material that's going to be put into a documentary, and we're thinking about putting it up as a downloadable thing on Patreon. And if you're friends of ours, we might let you see it for free. But a lot of time and effort went into it. And Brendan Macy is actually one hell of a video editor. So I'm going to go there after this this podcast and review the documentary as it now stands. Yeah, and this is all very, very fresh, guys. It's all, it's like the EP's not mixed. The thing's not cut.
When can we expect the EP to be out?
12th of never.
I'm stealing
probably
that.
Probably November. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of weird personal things have happened to me this year. It's like my best year and my worst year. That's how I would do it. And did you hear about is he our governor? Is it governor? He deemed 2019 the year of music. Have you been?
I don't know if I even read the article, but I know that there's an article somewhere. Maybe it's the News and Observer.
Are you using this? Because I actually was pulling up to your house, and then I heard that soundbite and go, he declared it the year of music. And I thought, well, 2020 won't be the freaking year of music. I thought, oh, wow, I really missed a boat here. But if you don't feel that way, I guess I shouldn't. And I've been working hard, but I haven't been working hard, getting radio attention.
It's like people are people, and people will just say things to say things. It's like, I haven't even been, and we're not going to get into the political thing. But I've just tuned out.
Yeah.
I just can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
I just can't. Yeah, that's it. Because at the end of the day, it's just overwhelming.
Yeah.
I'm not wired for it. Personally, I'm just not wired for it. I have my personal beliefs, I have my views, but world's going to keep turning.
Yeah.
So some people, they feel like they have an external locus of control or an internal, depending on how you view things. It's like, how much control do you have over the world? Well, every day I'm on this planet, I realize I have almost none. If any, except for, it's just that paradox, man.
I think we're out of time. See, he lost control of the interview. No. I turn it off and then unplug it and then drop the mic.
Well, no, I'm going somewhere with this.
I know you are. No, it's good. It's good that you said all that because we feel that way, don't we?
Do you have any, before I go to the next bullet point, do you have any comments on that?
My comment is you're 25 years old. You're 25 years old. You have plenty of time to work on yourself and grow your brand. And there's time to give a shit about the politics that we can't control. You will get to that age. You'll be stamping your foot and crumpling up newspapers soon enough. But for now, keep with the momentum of your life and stay happy and stay positive. And don't go on any social media and say anything that's just gonna
good
hurt
advice.
You. I don't know where it came from.
Thanks, Dad.
That's what happens. Born in the same hospital, folks, but not the same building because he's that young. They had to build a new building.
Darkness.
Darkness.
That was one of your bullet points.
How do you feel about darkness?
It's necessary. As my mic totally goes off kilter here.
It is necessary. See?
Necessary.
Yep. Back to that mad scientist thing, and just kind of like my interests. They've always been dark. And I wrote a song that no one will ever hear called "Crutch" when I was about 21 years old, and I wrote a line in there that surprised me, and it was like, I never knew I wore so many shades of black in the sunshine, and I wrote that and and then was playing it, singing it, and I was like, wow, that's might be the most I've ever actually caught a glance of myself in the mirror and was like, oh, that is who you are. You've kind of always been having this, this interest. And what does it all mean? It means that I don't like when my music is shallow. I don't like when I don't like having nothing to say, and I'm kind of an emotional person. And, it comes out in certain ways, and music is a way that's always been a way for us to translate our aggression and our sadness and our darkness into something positive and palatable to normal humans. And that's really
Did you ever get into Typo Negative?
Oh, the band?
Yeah. Peter Steele.
Not enough. I remember when he passed away, a volcano erupted. Do you remember that? and people said
must have been 2010 then.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, it was coincidence. The metal fans were like, it happened because of Peter.
Yeah, Peter. Yeah.
Peter, he made it happen. It's the most brutal way to go.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, he's a Brooklyn guy. The whole band.
Brooklyn? Okay.
Yeah. That's.
So what does darkness mean to you? I mean, like, I didn't come up here sporting, black hair and black eyeliner, but I am kind of like a sort of an emo person, even though I wouldn't say I really liked it when that scene was really popular. But bands that I really care about are like, AFI and the Smiths and the Cure and, a lot of bands that, even the Misfits, like they kind of had an aesthetic, and the aesthetic was not sunshine and crap.
I mean, you listen to the Police, for crying out loud.
Yeah,
I mean, you've got.
Yeah, that's a dark. Yeah, dark.
A lot of dark. Yeah, but the soundscape has kind of a contrast.
Yeah,
at times.
Yeah, like the Beatles. Here's a great example. Back to the tapes, back to the stuff. There's a Beatles song called "We Can Work It Out," and "We Can Work It Out." It has a pretty verse, and then it has a minor chorus. That life is pretty short. Are we gonna get sued? Life is something else.
This isn't the master, so we're good.
Okay, so like that. I always saw visions of that Goosebumps show when that minor chorus came around.
Right.
Like my brain heard the Beatles, but it also interpreted like something kind of scary's going on, and I had no idea what that was.
Well, I mean, she's so heavy.
That too.
I mean, in my opinion, that was the first heavy metal song. It was not. Yeah. Whatever the first. I'm drawing a blank, but the first track on that first Black Sabbath record.
Are we talking about Paranoid, or are we talking about Iron Man? Paranoid. Finish with my woman. War Pigs.
No, it's Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath.
I'm an idiot. The self-titled track.
Oh.
With the tritone. Because a lot of people credit that because it came out in 1970. Everybody says, "Oh, that's
Black
like the
Sabbath's
first
metal." Yeah.
Black Sabbath is the first metal song or metal record, and it's like, I don't know. I think Lennon was tapping into some stuff a year or two before on Abbey Road, and because it's so heavy.
Yeah,
she's so heavy.
Yeah, she's so heavy. Yeah, it is. It's but what makes metal? Is it about specific guitar tone, or is it about
great question
subject matter? Because there's that. Yeah, I hear that those guitars. And I'm like, yeah, that is like a really different kind of Beatles song. I think it's a combination
of both. Yeah,
because
there's a difference between metal and rock, and a lot of it has to do with the subject matter and the lyric, but it also has to do with the approach. There's a tightness to metal rock and roll can be a very, very tight genre. There's very tight bands, but there's also very loose bands. Mm-hmm. And there's tight and loose in metal as well. I don't know. It's just like, I think it's a combination of both.
Well, here's something I think we can both talk about.
Enlighten me.
Well, you should enlighten me because I know that you're a blues musician. You've won 2 times. You won the Songwriter of the Year in the blues category. Is that accurate?
No, Carolina Music Awards.
Carolina Music Awards, and it was like the blues category, right?
Rock.
Okay.
Rock.
Okay. So, yep. But what are your bluesy? Your top 3 blues guitar influences, and it's okay, and you can go to rock and roll, or you can go to the 30s or 40s, and you go first.
Yeah, I mean, coming back around full circle, the guitar solo that blew my mind was Stevie Ray Vaughan's version of Little Wing.
Awesome.
Where when I heard it, and I didn't even know it was a Hendrix cover until years later, but I was 13. I was at that point playing drums for about 9-10 years, and all drums, all percussion, but I heard that guitar work, and I just knew some chords on guitar. I was writing a little bit at the time. It changed me. Like when I heard that, I was like, if I'm ever gonna sacrifice years of my life to learning this instrument, I'm going to learn how to do it like that. Not necessarily that I can, but I want to go down that road.
That's good.
Because to me, it was clean yet dirty. It was technical yet soulful. It was massive tone, but clear.
Yeah, it's
just like, so that was really the first place for me. And then the Hendrix thing, like I started to understand, because I was never a Hendrix fan. But then once I found out Stevie Ray Vaughan was very Hendrix oriented, I was like, oh, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
But everybody's influenced by Hendrix. It goes back to Stevie as a guitar player, and then Zakk Wylde was huge for me because again it was the same type of sound. It was just faster, and there was chicken picking, and it was very pentatonic based, but it was still. It was just very soulful and bluesy.
Yeah. A lot of heart to it. Yeah. So it's good we're bringing that up because it seems like there's two very important milestones in musicians' life. One is that moment where you go like, oh my God, there's some like I'm drawn to this, I'm attracted to this, and for me that was like seeing the Woodstock movie.
Oh,
and so, like there was a thing, something like physiologically happened when I saw that movie. And then you have the moment later, like for me, I saw my third cousin on television, and then thought, well, he's my blood, and he's there. I'm watching him, and I'm 16 or something years old, and that was a moment where I just kind of like internally nodded and went, okay, we can do this. So you had a similar moment as well.
And John Mayer was another one because I was in high school when Continuum came. Well. It was out for like a year or two, and then I started my freshman year. But it was still hot because it was.
I was a senior in high school when I got that album, so that's why I was like bullshit.
Yeah, no, it's I'm like losing track of time.
That'll happen.
But yeah, man, it's good stuff.
Rock and roll. It has a way to call to you, and I think that I started out being someone who loved singer-songwriters and loved the Beatles and loved the Doors, and now I've grown into that guy who's like, I freaking love Jimi Hendrix, and I like have the same mission statements about music, both lyrically and musically, that he had. I'm adopting them really. Like it's not like I'm like, oh, he feels. It's like no, I'm straight up being like, I want to be creating new sonic landscapes for people, and I want the lead guitar to be my voice. I've always been singing, so my voice has been my voice. But now I realize
now you have two.
Both could really benefit me.
Cool, man. So as we kind of begin to wrap up, kind of. Oh, another toy.
Thought we were wrapping up.
Wait, hey, where's the other shirt?
What? What? All right, finish your sentence.
Well, no, this works because I have a couple of bullet points here left. One of them is tones, creating sound. So this is serendipitous. Look at you. Look at you.
I mean, it's like we planned this or something, but then we didn't.
When worlds collide, baby.
Tone's important, and those of you guys counting, can you tell what this guitar is from where you're sitting?
I'm listening. Okay. I'm listening for the future when this is edited. And
okay, well, this is not what you might think it is. It's actually a Squier Jag Master, which is the weird child of the Jazz Master and the Jaguar. Yes. Oh, this was created for 2 years in the 90s and then discontinued.
It's History Channel again.
Yeah, from the Squier Vista series. And this is probably this year I've bought 2 Fender American Strats, and I bought this guitar and a Jaguar, and hands down, this is my baby. This is like the most comfortable and fluid neck I've ever used. It bends like a charm, holds its tuning. So if any of you guys want to go on Reverb right now and look for a Jag Master, you won't find it.
Reverb.com took thousands of dollars from me earlier this year, and I don't regret it at all.
Took it? I mean, straight up jacked
Oh,
you.
they took it because you open up a Reverb tab, it's game over. You're done.
Yeah, I got to stop shopping for guitars, man.
Yeah. Yep.
So I have a website.
And I was going to bring that up.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
New songs.
Yes.
And we'll have this in the description box. What is the website address?
The website address is www.aripappalardo.com.
That's when we have that like nice 90s font that shows up and it like dances.
Ripples.
And then it just goes, yeah.
Don't make it dance too much because then people can't read my freaking last name, right? Pappalardo.
They might get a little too excited.
PAPPAVGPQ hashtag something. I wrote a song in Atlanta, Georgia called That's Not How You Love. And I wrote another song called London Fog. And That's Not How You Love is like kind of a weird song that's like The Killers and The Cure, and at times maybe vocally kind of a Nine Inch Nails vibe. And London Fog is more of like a kind of modern pop song, something between, it's poppy, it's guitar-y, it's got a little synthy-ness to it. And I wrote both these songs in Atlanta listening to modern bands. London Fog, without talking about it, is about a girl I dated from London who ended up ghosting me because, I'm a bad person. And I wrote it while influenced by this band called Group Love, which you guys should check them out if you haven't heard of them. And then for That's Not How You Love, I heard a band called Churches. I believe they're a Scottish band led by a female lead singer. And I heard Churches.
That was horrible.
It wasn't even Jason. That was just just a random guy under the couch.
That was terrible. It's embarrassing for myself and Scotland.
There is like an editing button somewhere.
Yeah, we're not going to use it.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. This is all there. So That's Not How You Love and London Fog are both available to be listened to on my website, aripappalardo.com. And I plan to re-record them at Night Sound Studios next year to try and get an even fuller sound. Even though you'll go on there now and you'll go, well, it sounds like a full band. It is a lot of help from my buddy Ryan Masseycar on that. Also,
good friend of mine from Manifold when we were interns, man.
There you go. Okay, I didn't know.
Back in 2016.
I didn't expect that, but Ryan knows a lot of people.
Yep.
So that happened, and the recording process for those songs actually began in Carborough.
I got to get Ryan on the show
with Dylan Turner. All right, we'll edit that part out where you said the Ryan thing. Come on, that's just freaking rude.
No, it's like
Anyway.
it's an afterthought. Like man.
Cheers, Ryan. I recorded those songs mostly. Like the scratches were in Carborough, and then we picked them up. That was Dylan Turner who I recorded with, and then we picked that up and went to Ryan's house. And
he's got a great facility.
He's got an insane
fun.
amount of gear in that garage for sure, and
it sounds good.
Yeah,
the room just sounds great.
Yeah, so if you guys haven't been to my website and heard that stuff, that's Ryan playing drums on London Fog, and he really just listened to it a handful of times and then put something over it that he thought would really smack, and it worked out. So That's Not How You Love and London Fog will be re-recorded, but for now you can enjoy them in all their high quality demo splendor on my website.
Demo splendor.
Yeah, there's a reason why.
I like that.
Yeah, there's a reason why. It's definitely listenable, but it could be better. And it's the reason why certain things are on Spotify and certain things aren't is because I want, when it's released, want there to be quality. But if it says anything about my songwriting, is that I've caught in a lot of crap about not having That's Not How You Love be like a click away, because people really like it. Folks really enjoy it. And
it's a process, man.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a process.
Yeah, and I want things to be right. And I've never had a full-length album, and I think that having a full-length album with all these some of my strongest songs re-recorded would be better than having a strong song that's just kind of not. It's just not 100% up to that radio quality thing. And it sounds like I'm trashing Ryan in the studio, but I'm not. I actually love the recording. I've just been told by other people, it's like, hey, you if you record it again, you could do this. So it's actually not a quality. I'm talking directly to Ryan right now. It's actually not a quality thing with the songs. It's an arrangement thing with the songs. I would like to rearrange those songs.
Everybody's got their own opinions, and you can get dragged down the rat hole.
Yeah, you record something 2 years ago and then you play it live 300 times and you realize, well, there's some, like, the soul of the song is this. And
it's funny because arrangement will change mixes. It's weird. So even the headspace, it's all connected.
Yeah.
at least from my experience.
Yeah, and I got a weird thing going for me because I don't really want to just say, oh, I just wrote a blues song, and it's like what you would expect. I like all these layers and textures, and it kind of gets you out into uncharted waters. And then you kind of ask yourself, well, does this sound right? But if you have nothing to compare it to, you're kind of like, I hope it sounds right. It feels good to me.
Well, let me ask you about future goals pertaining to all of what we're talking about.
The LP and recording at Night Sound. I spoke to Megan just over at Night Sound. I talked to her about 2 days ago. And it's an exciting and daunting thing to be recording an album because you got to make a long list of your songs and then have all these tendrils coming off that are the instrumentation. And then you got to be like, I want this much of this. And she just told me to like, just very cut and dry, and you can change it later to just like categorize what will go where on what song, what's an acoustic song, what's a full band song, what's like your weird sonic, tidal wave song, like all these things. Need to be measured over the next few months, and then I'll go into the studio and hope to not waste anyone's time.
That's me. I'll have to call him back. I apologize.
This is crazy. First you bring up Ryan, and now the phone's ringing. No, I'm just joking.
You're the one that brought up Ryan.
I think I did, yeah.
I just embellished. Okay,
Right.
well, let's talk about this. This looks like some Ouija board, mini Ouija board. Oh, this is cool, man. This is a slick card. That is a slick business card.
Shout out to Christina Ray Dotson for designing that.
That's cool, man. Nice and glossy and thick.
Yeah, and that's been I bought this shirt in Wilmington, and I've had the idea for the Ari Starry thing for a long time. I was actually in a band with a guy named Ryan Smith, so if Ryan sees this is all your fault. He used to call me Starry as sort of a funny way of, I don't know. It was like pumping you up and also kind of making fun of your name at the same time. But he called me Starry, and he would write me an email or something, and then he would go to Starry in the email.
It's a great logo.
Thank you.
It's cool.
And I got some bumper stickers and had fun passing those out in New Orleans. They get good responses. Half the time people put them on their phones, the other half women put them over their nipples.
It's
over their shirt, but
no, it's
we have evidence of this. Anything else?
No, I mean, it's just, we'll go to the shootout.
Yeah.
You caught me off guard there, I gotta say. I had a lot of images flash before my eyes and trying to recover.
Shoot, son. Well, you ever watch the Eric Andre show?
Oh, best bit to me is the grizzly bear. But that just, I mean, I haven't seen a lot of Eric Andre. I've got a cousin that I've got cousins that love him.
You shouldn't see too much, or you will lose everything. No, your brain just will.
You'll lose consciousness.
Yeah, and your brain will leak out your ears. He's an insane performer and a crazy man. And
yes,
I saw
all the above.
Yeah, saw him live, and I've seen too much of him. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I bet.
But I'll still watch your show, Eric.
It's just
because I love Hannibal Buress. Love him.
Ladies and gentlemen, a grizzly bear. It's just like the greatest minute ever captured on camera. And if this isn't a great idea. And the other, the guy, his assistant or colleague or whatever Hannibal, gets up and just jets. And then he's sitting there, and bear comes up, bear claws the table, and they do that stupid 80s
bum 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 bum. We'll be right back.
Thing. Cheesy edit and
that's what they're all about. Those cheesy edits. My favorite one is the Demi Lovato interview, and if you guys haven't seen that, just go ahead and search it right now. She is so mortified at what she's being put through as it's happening. It's really like I've never seen a guest get assaulted the way she does. But actually, Jack McBrayer from 30 Rock. Jack McBrayer is actually he gets it all.
He gets brutalized.
So Demi is the one to see if you want to see a girl get brutalized on the show, and Jack McBrayer is the one to search if you want to see what happens to a guy on the show, because different things can happen to guys and girls on television, live or otherwise. And I'm not being discriminatory. I'm just saying if he tweaked Demi's nipples instead of Jack McBrayer's, it would have been a very different outcome. But watch both those because they're important for your education.
All right, let's get to the shootout. So I'm gonna say I've got like 10 or 15 words. I'll say them. You just say kind of a word or sentence that popcorns off.
I don't know this part, so I've never got to the end of your podcast. So
thank
what's
you.
happening? Yeah, exactly.
I appreciate
the
that.
shootout part.
So guitar,
Jagmaster.
great. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I haven't done a shootout. Oh yeah. First one just pops right off.
It was on the floor.
You're a natural.
It was on the floor.
Comes prepared.
Yeah.
Vocal mic.
Electro voice.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's my
Okay.
go-to. Yeah.
Bass.
Fender Jazz.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can't argue with that, man. Drums.
Drums. As Zildjian comes in my brain, yeah.
Okay. Compression.
Microphone. I don't know. Compression. Not too much, please. How about that?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
EQ.
EQ. Scoop those mids.
Scoop those mids. Sounds like an ice cream parlor. Limiting. Similar to compression, but
Oh, well, limiting. I said self.
right.
Came into my
Right. Is there a self knob? Is there a self push button?
Not that I see here. No.
Acoustic.
Paul Reed Smith.
Wow.
Because I have one of those, and it always makes people
That's right.
pee
It
themselves.
made me ask a question.
That's what happened.
Niche. Amp.
PV Classic 50 all the way.
Master bus. As far as
Master bus. So this is a good old production question.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I get multiple choice?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay, master bus. It's always nice to get all the parts of the drum set, and maybe not all the parts, but how about all the Zildjians, all the cymbals, and master bus them to one thing. Work with them.
Sure.
That's my answer. I don't really have one.
Sure. Background vocals.
All me.
Yeah, same. 99% of the time. Tuning.
C sharp standard. When you said weirdness earlier, I forgot that I had kind of thought that when I was in Cicero, we had guitars that were in C sharp standard tuning, which meant you got to go get them set up.
Jeez.
So we're three.
Man, what the hell?
Yeah,
What's the gauge on that?
We would buy. You know what? I don't really know if we changed what we normally got. See, I mean, we were kids, but
Right.
but the goal was to. It was kind of like when you get is just great musical ignorance, but when you get bored of playing E minor and A minor, change the tuning, drop that stuff. It'll sound like a new song,
Right.
and that's kind of what we did, and it had to do with probably my guitar limitations and also sort of a tonal quality to my voice, which was maybe lower back then before more musical training, vocal training. So things like that. Drop C sharp standard tuning.
I just added a couple more. That was it, but I added two more.
Yeah, sure you did.
Reverb.
Electro Harmonics Ocean's 11 pedal.
Woo!
Yeah, that's my secret.
You fancy.
Yeah. Well,
Delay.
Echo Rec Catlin Bread pedal. I just bought that
You
one.
passed with flying colors,
Thanks,
my friend.
man.
That was great.
Yeah.
One last question for you, and then we'll wrap it up. If you could go back in time to your 15-year-old self, and with the experience that you have now,
Get the hell on YouTube yesterday. That's what I would have done.
that's what you
I
would
would
have
have
told
been.
them.
I would have been Smosh before Smosh. You know how they did the Pokemon theme. I would have done like a Barney and Friends parody or
Right.
something, and made it a music video and gotten sued like they did. But at the end of the day, it'd be like
They still made a career.
yeah, that'd be 30 with your own website and be completely independent, and people just love you for farting in a mic. When I saw Eric Andre, people laughed at everything he did, including when he just comically and I'm like, wow, okay, I guess this guy can do no wrong. But he did anyway. He did a lot of wrong on that stage.
Anything else philosophically besides YouTube?
It would have been fun to maybe be an actor, maybe have more.
It's never too late.
More of a thanks, and maybe tell Hollywood that. Like when you're in high school, you can put your eggs into a lot of baskets, and I kind of hung out with a lot of sociopathic acquaintances instead of.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, but I could have been like a theater geek or a band geek, or could have been in musical theater, and from that gained some more experience and performance chops so like just that kind of thing. I want what I want. I love my life. We all wish we got to where we were going yesterday. Just that kind of thing. Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
Now I'm thoroughly depressed.
Well, it's been fun, man.
Yeah, it was
It's been fun.
Yeah.
You've got some. Elaborate a little bit. This probably won't be out until later in October because I'm actually fairly. I've got to edit.
Yeah,
I've
of
got
course,
like three or four that I got to get out first.
Yeah.
But anything upcoming for the holidays?
I'm having a Halloween party, and my band is playing, and I'm also hosting it and decorating it. It's gonna be a costume party,
Cool.
At a bar in Cary called Sophie's Bar and Grill.
Cool.
So that's gonna be on the 31st, and the first prize is $100. So y'all should dress up and check it out. We also
sweet, man.
Yeah, so it's the whole thing. It's
That'll
like
be fun.
It's like my event. So
That'll be fun.
yeah, I'm not just a musician. I'm like a party planner. And
Well, if I'm back in town for that,
Yeah.
from New York, I'm gonna try and come out.
come dressed up as a Guido for me. How about that?
So I'll just like go show up as is.
No. You don't look like a Guido.
We're already halfway there.
Yeah, but come on, you can't
Come
blame.
on, man.
You can't blame your body on that. I mean, Guido's a state of mind. Oh, okay, all right, yeah. Y'all getting this? Yeah. I said it was a state of mind. A second later, he pops a collar. Magically, a Guido.
You're
not tan enough, and your priorities are straight. So I think that's the most important thing. You got
not
those.
tan enough because I've been stuck in the studio all summer.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which is good. Means
Yeah.
things are getting done. I was at Myrtle for a couple of days. We filmed a music video, and it was cool.
Was it your music video?
Yes.
What's the song called?
I Just Want to Be With You.
Awesome.
Wrote it about you. No,
Can we hear? I mean, I knew that, but that's
Yeah,
why-
I'll play you. I before you head out, I'll show you the studio and everything. We'll go over it.
Yeah, great. Play your song.
It's wrong tuning.
Maybe. Okay.
It'll be Peter Steele version because it's like a minor third down.
So you're into Typo Negative, are you?
Oh, dude, I'm a big Typo fan.
and that makes
big
a lot
Typo
of
fan.
makes a lot of sense. You can't have a voice as deep as yours and not respect Peter. Right?
Peter's down there, man. Peter's a genuine bass.
Yeah.
Genuine bass. And it's funny, I actually can sing pretty much his entire discography, but it's not Peter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can sing Jim Morrison. It's never going to be Jim Morrison.
No.
So, but hey man, this was awesome.
Yeah.
You've got some editing to do yourself in a little bit, so
Yeah.
I'll let you cut loose with that. But check the description box. I'm going to put this. You know what? No, I'm going to embrace it when we go out.
I've created a monster, guys. Yeah. So don't forget to go to my website and check out those songs on Spotify. And by the time this is released, maybe I will have the release date for my first EP. Yeah. And then maybe that can
now,
be
is it going to be called Airplane?
Yes. I don't
All right,
know. I don't
whatever.
know.
We'll
I don't
just-
know. You can help me with that. I bet you have good advice on that. But yeah, whatever.
Perhaps. I don't know. I may totally sabotage it.
I mean,
But
it's not like you've won any awards or anything.
thanks for coming out, man.
Thank you for
This
you
is
for having
awesome. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace and blessings, and keep it loud.
me. Yeah, keep things weird.
Keep things weird. See you later.